Welcome to day 4 of Honey, Listen Up. You are doing great because you only have 2 days to go. And you know what? It gives us a great feeling to finish whatever we start. Well, the main thing that we're going for is getting our husband to listen to us. That means we want to have a conversation, be able to sit down, look eye to eye, feel like we're interested in each other. And the truth is, often we have different uh things we like to talk about. Maybe he likes to talk about work and you like to talk about the kids, or he likes to talk about sports and you like to talk about something that you're learning. So we all have different things we like to talk about. So we have to literally stop and be a little bit of a go give person. Remember, they got that sign around their neck that says make me feel important. And so we have to sometimes just stop and listen, right? Well, today we're going to be looking at captivating conversations, because the truth is that some people are talkers and some people are listeners. Some people are great talkers, some people are great listeners, but we all want to be heard at some time, and we all have something to say at some time, right? So in this day and time, there's so many ways of communication. People's communication is really important. And when it comes to married couples, the ability to continue to communicate all through the years is important. Life is always changing. So when we're on the phone, if we're trying to listen to somebody, we can't give them our complete attention, right? If we're watching TV, if we're texting, reading something else, we can't give somebody our complete attention. And it is a day and time of communication in every direction. Sometimes we're both in one room on phones, texting or talking. Truly, truly, people have all kinds of moods. They have all kinds of emotions. And remember, just a day or so ago, we talked about all the different energy levels. And all three of these things bring on our happy face, our sad face, our tired face, our angry face. And some personalities are more apt to certain things like anger than others. Some are more apt to criticize than others. Some are more apt to always be optimistic than others. And whenever we learn this, and we learn that everything is not about us, like if our spouse is upset, in a bad mood, critical, angry, whatever's going on, it's not always about you. In fact, half the time it's not. It's their energy level, the mood they're in, what happened at work today, and all those kind of things. Well, you know what? We all like to talk about our achievements. So let me share with you really quick something from a blast from my past. Now, this is a white car because this is the picture that I could find. But I won through my Mary Kay sales director career 2 Pontiac Grand Dams, red Grand Dams. And it just happens that red is my favorite color. But right here, the new car they were giving was white. And so I did find that picture there. But can you imagine winning a free car to drive, no car payments? As I started into my Mary Kay career 30 years ago, 30 years ago, I had to listen to other people to find out how to do the business. I had to listen to other people to learn how to sell. I had to learn about the products. I had to learn all of these things. And when I knew there was a free car I could win, I was a great listener. And during my career with the company, I won 7 diamond rings, 2 cars. And, there was many people that I thought were way sharper than me. In fact, I would tell you that I can really pick people who are able to move into sales director or win cars in Mary Kay. But often people that have come across as super sharp, they may be a go-getter or they're not a go-getter. And it doesn't matter how good you look, how much you know, how educated you are. If you are not willing to take a step back and to learn from others, then you really have trouble moving forward. But one thing that I could do was that I could talk. And so I never minded talking in front of people, just a few people, teaching them how to do their makeup and their color. But that day when I went by to pick up my very first red Pontiac Grand Am, can you imagine walking into the car dealership, driving up, parking my other car, and seeing that red Grand Am, going in to the showroom to sign papers. And whenever you're buying a car, all those papers you have to sign because you got to sign away your life, like to the bank, as uh, for the opportunity to drive that car away. Well, that day I only had to sign one paper, and there were balloons all over my car, and congratulations ribbon, gigantic pink ribbon on top of my car, because I had won that car. And, you know, in the same way that this achievement was so exciting to me, it is just as exciting and more exciting to me that couples learn how to communicate, learn how to listen to each other, appreciate each other. Because when you have a happy marriage, everything else is gravy. Everything else is gravy, because when you are happy at home, everything else is wonderful. And guess what? Just like it took teamwork for me to win this free car, which was I had to not only sell Mary Kay products, but I also had to bring other people into the company and help them learn to sell Mary Kay products in order to win that car. That's how people win those cars in Mary Kay. And so I had to learn teamwork. And my people had to be willing to engage in teamwork for us to win this car together. And to have a happy marriage, it's teamwork. It takes teamwork. So if you want something that you've never had, you have to do something that you've never done. We don't like to be told we have to do anything, do we? But if you want something that you never had, you do have to do something that possibly you've never done before. And I love this. It says happiest people don't necessarily have the best of everything. They just make the best of everything that they have. We all want the golden egg. We all want to have that best marriage, that best looking family. We want a family that moves forward with success. And often parents even think that, their kids reflect on them. And if they don't have a great career or make it with on their first marriage or whatever, or if they don't do all those things, then they failed themselves or it looks bad on them. But we all want that golden egg. We want to have that great career, that great family, that great marriage. But it is something that you have to work for. It doesn't always just happen. So the one point I want to make today as we look at the importance of conversations is that truly we are either a listener or we are a talker. And there's some people that are in between and they're pretty good at both. But typically, there's great listeners and great talkers. Stop now and think about whether you are a talker or a listener. And then think about your spouse. Are they a talker or are they a listener? Well, I'll use myself as an example. I'm definitely a talker. I can talk about everything and anything whenever I meet up with my friends. And not only that is I can even talk to a stranger in the line, at the store. It doesn't bother me. A stranger is just somebody I have never met before. So I'm a natural talker. But here's what I started to learn. As I studied the personality styles, one thing that bothered me about myself was I learned that when I was talking all the time, I didn't give somebody else a chance to talk. And I mean to be good to all people. I want to, make people feel good about themselves. And when I was talking about myself all the time, I didn't give the other person a chance to talk. And even those listeners who are such great listeners, oh, we appreciate them so very, very much. They want a chance to talk too. They want a chance to express themselves. I remember being at some like big dinners, where you have those fancy dinners and you have 8 or 10 people around the table and it's different couples. You come in, it's like a charity event. You walk in and you have these people around your table and you do not know them. And, it's kind of uncomfortable for everybody, but somebody has to reach out and start talking to the person across the table, or you're going to eat your whole dinner without without people engaging in a conversation. And that's kind of uncomfortable to me anyway. So I usually reach out to that person across the table. And what do? You ask them about themselves and you ask them a few questions, maybe, oh, well, what do you do in business? Or, oh gosh, do you have any kids or whatever. It's engaging in conversation. And one good way to do that is by asking questions. But my point is that we need conversation in everything that we do. Like people just sitting looking at each other is uncomfortable. And I don't know if you agree with me on that. If you don't agree, maybe you're that listener and you don't need a conversation. But the important thing is to know that in our marriage, we need conversation. Conversation keeps us connected. It is communication. It's knowing what is going on in one another's day, what is going on with the kids, what is going on with, the parents. And we have texting, we have, the phones, which we don't use so much anymore, but we have texting, and there's just no excuse not to just communicate. Like if somebody's coming home for dinner at 5 and they don't come home till 6:30, it's a very easy thing to do, just to communicate with them and let them know that you're going to be home at 6:30, right? It's an important thing. But conversations are important. And listeners want to be heard just as much as talkers. And so we have to make sure that we take turns. So think about yourself and your spouse. Is one of you a listener and one of you a talker? I myself am a talker. My husband's pretty much a talker, but guess what? He's a listener first. And he remembers things that people tell him. And so he's an excellent listener. And he never complained, but I know that sometimes I talked too much and I needed to stop and listen to him and make him feel important. Also, is there any secret of success in life? Oh, sorry. If there is any secret of success in life, it lies in the ability to put yourself in the other person's place and to see things from his or her point of view as well as your own. And that's from Henry Ford. I want to say it again. If there is any secret of success in life, it lies in the ability to put yourself in the other person's place and to see things from his or her point of view as well as your own. Now, here are the questions, and you can click on the PDF in the email and get a hold of all these questions. But some of us have a little trouble starting conversation. And if that's you, you might take this list and look at it and, study the ones that you say, yeah, I could do that. I picked out just a few. Number 4 was positive highlights from your day. So when your spouse comes in, hey, anything positive happened in your day? Because sometimes all we do is share the negative, right? Number 6, talk about your childhood memories and ask questions. Sometimes we get together, we get married, and we don't even know that much about our past. And it's a great place to talk because we can all talk about ourselves in that way. 7, share embarrassing stories. Those are always good for a laugh. And I don't know about you, but I love to laugh. Laughing gives me energy. 12, what's your biggest adventure as a kid? See, we all have a past. We all have something good in our past that we can talk about. So be sure and download your conversation starters on your email. All right, so tomorrow we'll open up the gates to getting to know your spouse, getting your spouse to listen to you. We're going to take everything that we've learned this week, and we're going to talk about healthy communication. Healthy communication keeps you away from the big D, divorce, right? Because people wait too long to pay attention to their relationships sometimes, but not you, because you're here today. Your challenge today is identify yourself and your spouse as a listener or a talker. So are you a listener or talker? Identify those. Then choose 2 of the conversation starters and, practice taking turns as you have a conversation. So pick out 2 conversation starters that you're like, oh, I can do that. And then I want you to share in the Facebook group, because remember, we're going to have a prize that's going to come after the challenge. Are you a listener or a talker? And what you got out of this today. So you're going to do 2 things in the Facebook group. Tell me whether you're a listener or a talker, and then what you got out of this today. And be sure, P.S., be sure to download your conversation starters. All right. I will see you tomorrow for your last day of Honey, Listen Up.